I really need to stop playing with stuff. Okay. Um I was playing with this thing. Okay, let me get back to this article. Later, the Imaginists repeat the romantic mode in a slightly different pattern. Their art is exclamatory and personal. It avoids synonyms and avoids syntax, synthesis, synthesis and meaning. Other modern portraits retreat into the still more impregnable world of feeling, or bestowing and rugged metaphysical world of Dante, where every approach is labyrinthine, and a tender soul of the prophet goes armed with an array of blooming thorns. There are more and more poets about the difficulty of writing poetry, such as one is uh, such as one is The Wasteland. Never heard of these ones before. Uh, I'm more a visual artist, not a poetic artist. Okay. The more combative and critical artists may prefer a different method, turning upon what has foiled him. He proposed to refrain and change it. This occurs not frequently in the novel or the drama, works of social criticism and protest. The history of the novel reveals has how rapid has been the shift from objective narration to oh, paper torn a uh, pro- problematic, the satire, and the critical. The shift occurred, in fact, almost as soon as the 18th century novel was born, and it has continued until pure story is now regulated to minor types of fiction, and serious novels are, by at large, those that tell us how wrong the world is. Yeah, thinking about the history way. Yeah, if you get another book from the 30s, you can see a lot of it. Yeah. Okay. The last choice for artists is to accept uh, the disturbed state of society as something which cannot be altered by him, or as promising an altogether new kind of society that will require to be interrupted in some wholly new kind of art. The enemy is not strong, the enemy is too strong for him. So he joins the enemy, hoping thus to secure the integration that otherwise is denied him. The distributing element, which is, is science pure and applied, offer methods, attitudes, subjects that he determines to appropriate. Perhaps he becomes a realist without a hint of moralizing and disdaining escape and protest. He merely observes, classifies, and reports. But the work of realists ought, which ought, if science has merit in it, to dissolve the beauty that is truth, more often reveal the truth that is ugliness and injured beauty. The realist turns out to be an historian rather than an artist, and at that the historian a calamities historian of calamities. Yeah, calamities. Sometimes my accent goes crazy. Or the more he urges towards art, the more he will find to depart from scientific method, which is a negation of art to begin a negation of art to begin with. In any case, no matter what his pretensions, the realist succeeds no better than the romantic in avoiding the ill relations between the artist and society. Although he may seem defiantly to enlarge in the field of art and to get a hold of new materials, he is singularly ill at ease in the role of reporting. Having accepted the valutations of science along with the methods, he finds himself confronted with a purposeless world of men and things whose lack of meaning he must honestly reveal. His honesty, however, is quite uncheerful, and it is not objective. Tragically, tragically, tragedy may be impossible in a world where men have, as their glands made them behave, but pitiful literature remains to exhibit the repugnance, repugnance of the scientific artist towards the role he has chosen. Some of these words, when they split them apart, it takes me a bit to catch up. Really. Okay. Wordsworth's hope had the objects of science, such as presumably dynamo, dyna, dynamos, atoms, skyscrapers, knitting machines, and chemical reactions might one day become materials of art. Yeah, it really has. When they are as familiar as trees and rocks, seems as far from realization as ever. The attempt to sublimate them, which has something of an attitude of the realistic without his method, does not yet show which promise of success. The object appear in art, of course, but that art is already conditioned by the social trends that machines and scientific theories have caused. They become a part of the background of artistic interpretation, or they furnish motives, but their role is mainly satanic. Really? Since there is since their influence on humanity is to dehumanize, to emphasize utilitarian, utilitarian, oh, utilitarian ends, to exalt abstractions over particularly and uniformly over variety, the artist tends to view them as evil. Yeah. He cannot accept them as offering an approach to some new art unless he adopts the resolution of Satan. Evil be thou my good. I just don't like this, where this part of this is going. A world committed to some hypothetical and yet unheard of form of art science can today be visioned only as a monstrous and misshapen nightmare, which we pray we may not survive to witness. Whether or not science are actually hostile to each other, as I have argued, is it is certainly true that they have no common ground. They are as far apart as science and religion. In short, the condition of the arts themselves in whatever field gives little ground for thinking that they are actually cherished in an industrial civilization. The sporadic vitality that they show is probably not a mark of abundant health, but of a lingering and lustful capacity to survive every disaster and disease short of complete extinction. The ultimate disaster of extinction must honest be faced, unless the arts accept the role inferior in anything they have previously enjoyed, so greatly in contrast that their old state as so greatly in contrast to their old state as to make them appear slavish and parasitical. Hmm. In his portrait of the artist as American, Matthew Josephson has shown to what an astonishing extent the careers of American artists have been distorted and eradicated. Rarely, if ever, in America do we find great artists slowly maturing his power in full communion with a society of which he is an ideal part. Okay? Instead, we have selectionists like Emily Dickinson in retiring within the narrow subjective cells, or at least other extreme exiles like Henry James and Lafredo Hearn, who sought salvation in flight. Okay, I know who Emily Dickinson is, but I don't know who these other two are. And I'm going to stop right here. Whew. It's a little bit. Some of this stuff is a little bit. Like I said, I hadn't been with high class people in a while, and this is not good for rural people. It's a little bit high. Okay, my name is Loretta Dash. You are listening to the Loretta Dash Show or Laura's blog. I am reading I'll take my stand and I'll see you in a bit.